Um, all right. So what Marlies and I developed, and Marlies, just interrupt me, because this is, I mean, this is uh, part of the history of Marlies running history and all the successes she had and the way she trained. That is how we have defined our speed and interval work. I called it speed interval because there are many ways of interval. You can even do long and slow intervals, but we are talking about speed intervals. So the big thing is speed, and we want to be on the intervals quicker and run faster than what we do on our MHR and HMHRs on all the distances. Um, our speed intervals are defined with a fixed number of repetitions and sets. And we have many variations. On the platform, I think we have 12 fixed and we have 2 bonus interval variations. And their strictures, they're very easy to follow. And also individually with you guys, if you have specific needs or desires for specific goals, we can also develop other variations of the structures for the interval trainings. But basically, they have a fixed structure. And one of the big things, which is number 2, that is that in our training concept of intervals, the maximum amount of work, so basically the length in which you are pushing it and speeding up, is maximum 4 to 5,000 meters. There are many other ways of intervals. You hear people saying, hey, I did 8 times 1,200 meters, or so-and-so, I did 6 times a full mile, but we're not doing that because we believe that's not really speed interval work, because then you need to throttle too much. So all the interval trainings and the concepts you see from our hands is the amount of work. So the amount of pace and the amount of speed is, I mean, rarely more than 4,000 meters. And also, big difference is that our intervals are pace based. So with all the intervals, let's say, for example, the 6 times 600 meters, we want you to find your pace from the first repetition and keep it throughout the whole sessions from start to finish. So, of course, there are many variations, but in all our structures of intervals, and I explain you later exactly how it works. We want you to find your pace and keep it. So that's interesting because you will not really develop routines in one particular interval training. If we make training schedules for you, we tend to have every week a different type to train, different type of interval to train your sense of pacing, distance, and the time you need to push it, which is fun, by the way. Marlies and I, every Wednesday, so this day in the mornings, we do our interval trainings with some friends on the track. And we basically every week, but almost for 2 months, we're not doing the same interval structures. It's always different. Every week is different, so you cannot really develop a routine. If you would do every week 300 meters, then you would know. And we do all kind of different structures from the platform we have. And then point 5, we work with the full recovery interval training concept. So which means you can take your time between the repetitions. You can really slowly walk or dribble to recover, to get your breath back between the reps. And between the sets, we are even taking longer time to recover. So that is, for instance, different from if you do interval trainings that build fatigue and you do very short amounts of recovery then you're building fatigue. So towards the end, it will be, I mean, tremendously much more difficult to keep your pace. What we want is to basically choose your pace in the beginning and keep it throughout the whole session, and also take your time to recover between the repetitions and between the sets. That's really important. So your heart rate will go down. If your max heart rate on an interval is maybe 160 or 170, then between the intervals, we want your heart rate to get back to 130 or 130 or even 120, so that you really feel recovered. Okay, so I'm going to show you three results of the 300, two results of the 300 meters and an interval training that you will not find on your platform, but what Marlies and I did this morning, which is a little pyramid type of interval training. And we also repeat that 3 times. So basically you do a 200 meter, 300 meter, and a 400 meter, and then you repeat that set 3 times or 4 times or 5 times. Even if you do it 5 times, the total amount of work is 900 meters. It's 200 plus 300 plus 400 is 900 meters. And even if you repeat it 5 times, you have 4,500. So that's about the maximum amount of work we are applying in our intervals. All right. Are there any questions about the theory before I dive in the examples?
You said,
okay.
Yes, please, go ahead.
It's not clear to me the number 6 for 3 multiplied and parentheses 200 plus 300. What means that in one time you have to do, for example, last Monday I did, as you suggested to me to do, 3 times the 200 meters running. So here in parentheses you put 200 plus 300 plus 400. What means? In one session you have to do, it's not clear to me.
It's a good question, Marcella. It's the structure is always the same. You have your the repetitions are the length of which you are running quick. So the repetition here in this example, in the 300 meters example, one repetition is 300 meters.
Okay.
And you repeat that 4 times. So you do 300 meters of activity, then you dribble for 100 meters, because those are the structures that are written on the platform, in detail. We write out everything. But 3 times 4 times 300 meters means you do 300 meters, 100 meters of dribbling, and you repeat that 4 times. So that's what stands here. And that is one set. That's what we call one set. One set of 4 repetitions of 300 meters. And then we repeat the set 3 times. That's what it stands here. And the other example is you have one repetition of 200 meters, one of 300 meters, and one of 400 meters. That is one set between the brackets, and you repeat that set 3 times.
So the fact that instead I did for 3 times just 200 meters is because it was for me the first time?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
We are very careful with you.
Okay. No, that is okay.
We don't want to get you injured, and you're making you're making so quick progress, and even in the 200 meters you were running, but we talk about that in our one-on-one. But you were already running really quick, so we want to be careful because that's one of the other things. This type of interval training setup is pretty injury proof. I mean, if we would just tell you other forms of interval training we know of course, and Marlies knows many, but then the risk of injury is pretty high. With this type of interval training, with the full recovery between the repetitions and even longer recovery between the sets, the risk on injury and really having nasty little injuries is pretty low.
Okay.
And that's another reason why we opt for the full recovery. The other reason is that you really can focus on pace because you're not getting tired and the fatigue is not accumulating too much. So you really can pace yourself every time over and over again because you recover pretty good. And that's one of the big goals we have. So
Yes, and
great
in
question.
addition to that, also to keep the right form, because if you get fatigued, then you start to make movements that you never could think about that you could do, you would do that. That well, your form is quite important to run efficient, to use your energy, to keep moving forward, to watch your stride, to keep your body up in a straight line. Etc. So that's why we really encourage to make sure you have your recovery, you do a little walking, slow dribbling, make sure you catch your breath again, and then go for your next speed distance. And then you can really push it quite a lot, which is way more beneficial. So it's not that much about quantity, it's more about the quality that we look for.
Okay.
Aaron, please. You had a question.
Yeah, I was just gonna make it's kind of a comment, kind of a question, I guess. I think the pace for me is the hardest thing to figure out for speed work. And I get, like I've heard this for years, right? You know, you want to try to maintain the same pace all the way through. But I think, and this is where like it's more of a question. I think like the goal is to try to pick a pace where by the end it's a lot harder, right? You're almost to your limit by the last rep, versus like, you know, say just picking your 10K pace and you just can run it the whole time, right? Or something like that without really trying too hard.
Yeah, you're right, Aaron. A good question, by the way. It's takes a while to figure out where you are if you run, for instance, a 400 meters, so full lap, and repeat that for 10 or 12 times.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we can be a little bit too enthusiastic. So then by the time that you got hit the
Yeah.
6 number, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not sure I'm gonna make this and keep this pace. So then
Yeah.
you probably have to slow down a little.
Mm-hmm.
And the other way around, that we sometimes are a little bit too conservative at the beginning, and then we tend to run way faster towards the end. Um, if you have, that will help a lot, a watch, and you
Mm-hmm.
time yourself, then you get that feeling also together with how much time did I need to run a full lap. Remember, and over time you will know, okay, when I do 400, I want to be about this and this time-wise per lap.
Mm-hmm.
Same for if you do a full 800 or 1000. By then you know where you are about per rep, and you try to repeat that over and over again. But it takes, I agree, you need to do it to get the hang of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some days, what I've found also is, and this might be because of I'm not fully recovered every time I go out to the track, right? Some days are better than others, right?
Right.
Weather
Yeah.
factor too, I think. But,
Yeah. Weather, energy, personal circumstances, temperature, wind,
yeah.
can be anything. Time. Are you more a morning person or evening person? When do
Yeah.
you perform better? It's worth to try it all if you have the chance to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. That's good.
Other
Thank you.
questions?
All right, then I just continue because I have a bit more to show you. Let me see where it is. Yeah, I'm going to share my screen again. And then we go to the example. Let's first go to the 300 meters example. Here you see a little graph of it. That's just Strava, the way you guys are using it. So you have the I make always the notes in Strava, like what I did. the interval training, the 4 times 300 meters, and then I do 3 sets of it. And my goal pace, and that's for you, Aaron. For me, the goal pace for the 300 and 400 meters is a bit under 5 minutes per K, which is 8 minutes per mile. So with the 300 meters, I'd like to be in a range of 7 minutes per mile. I know that by experience, of course, that I can maintain that in the 300 meters. And the 400 meters, it's just below 8 minutes per mile. That's my go-to pace. And you're absolutely right. Sometimes you feel strong and then you can maintain. And then towards the end, you can even pick up the pace a little bit. And sometimes you just feel a bit tired, or you did too much the day before, too much strength training, and then you feel it from the first repetition on. What I wanted to show you, I don't know if you're able to see, but here is also visible what we do as the warm-up. So basically, we are doing a bit of running, just a bit of jogging. Can you see my arrow, my mouse? All right, okay. Then we do a bit of form drills and everything, so that the form drills you find also on the platform. Then we do 6 speed ups, what you can say ins and outs, or we do it 60 meters accelerations. And then finally we start with the interval training itself. I think I'm going better now to the actual, yes. So I can show it here. Because what is interesting to see, and that's also for you, Marcella, in fact, I asked you to do only 1 set, like 3 times 200 meters or something like that. What you see here is we do 3 sets of 4 times 300 meters. And you see here, my pace here in the beginning is 4:30. So that's around 7.5-ish. And that remains the same here for the first set of 4 repetitions. And then you see, and that's for you, Aaron, I'm really experienced, but I felt this second set, I pick up the pace a little bit. I thought, hey, this was too conservative. This was too modest. So I'm going into the 4:30s and even 4:20s per K, which is a bit below 7 or something like that. And towards the end, I even push it further, but then I had to pay for it, the final sets, you see? And then I was back on my regular 5 minute per K level. But that is what you can do, to play around, to see how good you are. And of course, it's all beneficial. Everything is effective regarding developing your pace, strength. Of course, you're pushing your VO2 max. If you're doing these type of trainings, you're playing with your sense of pacing for distance and everything. If you look at the heart rate, sometimes, well, this is pretty fine. Here, sometimes the reading of I'm on the track, I'm just using my watch, so I'm not using my chest strap. So you see here, in my case, in the beginning, my heart goes up from, what is it here, like 115 to 145. And then the second repetition, it is going up to 149. And then the third, it stays even lower because you get used to it a little bit. And the funny thing is what you see here in the second set of 4 times 300 meters, my heart rate is even a bit lower, because then you get into it, your body get used to it. And because you're experienced and your body knows what's going to happen, it reacts in a really good way. And then the last set, you see here that even running a bit slower, my heart rate needs to be higher because you get tired. That's the accumulated fatigue after all of the whole set. So this is a good example of actually what happens if you do a 300 meters, which is pretty straightforward. Marlies and I use the 300 meters in many cases for also for the week before race day, because 300 meters don't fatigue that much. It's really, you don't really need to push through. If you do 1,000 meters, it takes much more effort to keep pushing through and everything. And 300 meters is really, I mean, pretty convenient. And it also good for really developing raw pace, raw speed. And also after, even if you're very tired after a race, or if you did a lot of strength work in the weekend or something happened, then even 300 meters is very convenient for also recovery, because then you just you're not going flat out, you just stay at 70-80%, and then it feels very good. All right, so this is the 300 meters. Then let me see, I lost the presentation. Yeah. Then I think I have for you, an interval type of training. A pyramid type of training. So an ascending length. So the set is a 200 meters, a 300 meters, and a 400 meters. And you repeat that 3 times. In my case, I did it 3 times. I think this morning Marlies did it 4 times. But that 5 times even. Yeah, that's the 4,500 meters. And why did I do it? Oh yeah, I know why. Because I filmed you the first time. So, but let's have a look here, because this is interesting. I think if I click here, yes, I'm going to my real readings, and here you see only the 3 sets. So you see the 200 meters, the 300 meters, the 400 meters, and that set I repeat 2 more times. So in total, I do it 3 times. And what you see here nicely is that the 200 meters here, I do in a pace of around 4:14. Here, it's the same 4 minutes, which is, that's 6.5 minutes per mile pace. And here the same. So you see, even if you do a pyramid, then over the 3 sets, the second set and the third set, my 200 meter pace is around the same. And that applies to the 300 meters, which is 4:30. That's around 7 minutes per mile. Here, same 4:30, and here again 4:30. Then the 400 meters, that's a bit too quick here. It's 4:40, 4:45. Then the second time, all right, it's also like around 4:45. That is between 7.5 and 8 minutes per mile. And then here it's the same. You see, so this is the objective of how you do an ascending type of interval training. You want the first short distance pace and the second and the third to be the same. The 300 meters here and here, you want it to be the same. And finally, the 400 meters, the pace, you want it to be around the same. And the heart rates are, they're all also around the same. The funny thing with me is, you see, at 300 meters, I push it relatively hardest. You see, my 300 meters heart rate is 156 or so. Here it is 151, and here it is 150, 154. So for some reason, my heart rate gets highest on the 300 meters. All right, so that's an example of an interval training, which is a 200 plus a 300 plus a 400, and you repeat that 3 times in this case for me. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you, and this is basically the way we want it to be done. So please, if you have any questions, we can talk about that a little bit furthermore. We can maybe find other examples if you ask particulars. So please feel free and go ahead.
So for 2 weeks, I will continue just with one set repeated 3 times, right?
I don't know when we have a next call because let's
Okay,
talk about
okay.
that, Marcella. I
Yeah, 2
think,
weeks. Yeah.
yeah, but I think it went so well.
Okay.
So let's have a little chat about that together and
Okay.
see. But you see, Marcella, already now how convenient it is to have a track, because then you don't have to bother about traffic. You don't have to bother about distance because the track is 400 meters. So half a lap is 200 meters, 3/4 is 300 meters. So that's so convenient. And of course, it's for you. It's convenient to be close to do it close to your home, and then we have to find stretches of a specific length like yours, the 200 meters, and we stick with
Yeah.
that for let's say for the next weeks.
Okay.
But of course, we can increase the number of repetitions.
Mhm.
Yes, Linda, please.
Just a quick one. Can you change the drills and the warm up around? Do the drills first and then the warm up and go straight into the intervals, or not preferred?
Well, the running drills. Have you seen them on the platform?
Yeah, Marlies show. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they are in a sense pretty intense, because if you do all the little things with your feet and the calves and all that kind of things, it's always a
Should
bit,
warm up first.
yeah, it's intenser than you expect it to be. If you do knee raises, and I mean,
Yeah.
so better have 3 or 4 or 5 jogging laps, or do that thing with a bit of speed ups and things. So our preferred is to do just we go with friends and we do a little chit chatting, and we run 3 or 4 laps. We do maybe a bit of speed ups. Then we do the running drills.
Yeah.
Then we do the ins and outs. So the real 60-meter real speed ups that we accelerate slowly. So you start, let's say, on MHR pace. Then in the middle part, you accelerate, and towards the end, you push it a little bit further. We repeat that 5 or 6 times, and then we start with the interval training.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That was master. It's like, no, that was, Thank you.
Yeah.
I need to go in a couple of minutes. I'll need to go as well because I've got to get to the track.
That's a good reason.
Very good reason.
But don't underestimate the impact of the running drill and the forms, the running form drills on basically on everything. So better be a bit prepared if you start with that.
I haven't actually started them. I will start the drills. It'll have to be next week when but I'll definitely do that. Thank you. I will have to go in about 5 minutes. So thank you, everyone.
That's okay. Yeah, and also the running drills for everybody. You don't need to do them too much and too long. It's maybe 6 or 7 different types of running drills. A couple of minutes per drill. That's it. I mean, it shouldn't be a real fatiguing effort. It should be really just loosening up things, and then you will notice that the next time and the week after and after it goes easier.
One more thing I'd like to add is, I don't know if you had in mind to also address the topic in between the intervals, how you do the slow jog or the walking, etc., because that's quite important if you want to do the intervals in a good way. Then you also have to have a look at your easy jog in between. So you really use that distance and time to fully recover. And I sometimes talk with students that I notice on Strava that their recovery is still quite challenging because they seem to still jog a little bit too fast, and then of course it adds the accumulated fatigue. You start to feel it, and then it's hard to maintain that same pace over and over again towards the end. So I'm not sure if Bas wanted to address that topic today as well with some examples. Bas?
Yeah, I just sent an email with a link to one of the shorts we have created today that show. I mean, it's a bit dull, but I'm showing the rest kind of running and jogging between doing your intervals, but it shows how easy and how slow and how relaxed you have to do it. And that's what Marlies is saying, that sometimes we have students who are in the beginning, they're running MHR pace between their interval sets and between their intervals, which is way too fast. You can really dribble very slowly. You can even walk if you want to catch your breath back, and then speed up your walking a little bit, and then slowly jog towards the restart of your next repetition. If you want to have a good reference about not going too quick, is turn around and jog backwards.
Backwards.
Yes, that's a good reference. The kind of the backwards jogging you can do, that's the type of pace required between the repetitions.
And at the same time, drop your arms, drop your shoulders,
Yeah.
and make sure you relax, because that also makes a big difference. Not to keep your arms up, because that is also quite heavy. Drop your arms, drop your shoulders, try to relax, release, run or dribble a little bit backwards, and make sure you really feel that you recover and that you're filled up with new energy for your next rep.
What about, I've noticed I have I had,
World record, however, we're not backward running self beverage.
yeah, it's actually
Yes.
it's not me, but a guy with the same name as me. Look him up. He's got it on YouTube. I had a real bad time one day doing, I think it was 300s, and I didn't bring any hydration at all. It's getting hotter where I live, and I tend to run around lunchtime, which is probably terrible, but you know, I believe it's making my, it's helping me acclimate and making me better for when it's cool in the fall. But what do you think about like taking on hydration? Does it matter? Is it essential? I'm sure it's a little bit personal, but I had an anecdote. I don't know. There are probably many other factors, but I had a really bad day, and then the next week I brought a bottle with me, and it went a lot better that day.
Well, I know what Marlies is going to say, so I can say it. Yes, it matters. I mean, we always bring water with electrolytes, put it near the track, always
Yeah.
at the starting point. I mean, and it
With
goes quick.
electrolytes,
Yeah, oh, yes, and it
okay.
goes quick.
But
It's
not sugar, no
no,
carb.
no,
Okay,
no. But we
interesting.
are going to talk about that, Aaron, because we
Okay,
want to make you sugar independent.
yeah, I'm
So
working on it. Working on it.
yes, yeah, but I mean, electrolytes, water, especially now, also here in the Netherlands, is getting warmer. We are in the 20s, even 30s. Interval training is great when it's hot. Uh,
Mhm.
we had the student Anthony in New York, and he loved in the summer, breaking up from going into marathons back to track and doing 1 milers and 1,000 meters, and because when it's really hot, if you do short work, it's a bit more
Mhm.
manageable.
Yeah.
Um, and even I talked with Marlies about that this morning. Even when it gets really hot, the shorter distance intervals are better doable than doing a 3 or 4 times 1,200 meters, because then you push it for like
Yeah.
6 or 7 or 8 minutes, which may be too much because you're on high intensity. So yeah. So, but I mean, water, electrolytes, drinking, really important. I mean, really
I've noticed
important.
also when it's hot and humid, I've noticed my heart rate tends to get even higher
Yes.
on the intervals. Yeah.
Bye, Linda. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. So interval is all about power. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I mean, energy per time. You wanna be able to spend as much energy as you can over a short period of time. So when it gets hotter, your times will drop, and your heart rate will go up. That's perfectly normal.
Yeah, and Aaron, drinking is just normal, just like breathing. If you need to drink, then drink, please. Don't
Yeah.
let people convince you it's not good. And no, if you feel thirsty, you're almost too late. So if you feel that you
Right.
need it before that, then, and you don't drink the whole bottle, it's just just a
Mhm.
little bit, and then you continue. And you can even do that with every rep, just a little zip, and then continue. And sometimes I even pour it over my head or my wrists to cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so bring as much as you need.
Yeah.
Yes, and for you, Marcella,
Yeah.
if you do intervals on the streets, uh, as we do also. I mean, we have the boulevard here, so we have plenty of time places where it's lightened and during the evening, so we can do intervals very nice between the lamp and the poles and everything. So you have references. Just put your drink somewhere at a fixed place, and you
Yeah,
leave it there.
I
You
have
do
to
your
do that.
you do your interval. Once you
Mhm.
get back, you drink, take a sip, and then you do your next repetition. So on the
Okay.
streets, you can do almost the same. I think your
Yeah.
neighborhood is, I mean,
Yeah.
you can easily
No
leave
problem.
your, no.
Yes.
What about so I sometimes don't have time to go all the way to the track as well. And I don't have a perfectly flat option. It's pretty flat, but not perfectly flat. What do you I guess and I don't see hill work. Is hill work something you incorporate into the plan?
Well, yes, we can for you because most people live in hilly areas.
Yeah.
Uh, but in general, interval training is a bit structured. I mean, it is
Hmm.
structured, and you can compare it with what you did
Well,
like 1.5
yeah.
months ago or something like that.
Right.
So if you have a lap or a route or a piece of road, I know Brian has a piece of road near the river. You know, Brian lives on the mountain, so there's
Hmm.
nothing is flat. But then you can go to the river, and there's always near the river there are flat spots. Um,
Hmm.
it just makes life easier. If it's a little going up and down, it's okay. I
Hmm.
mean, we have the dunes here, and even the boulevard is a little bit going up and down. That's okay, as long as you're not trying to do interval training on real hills. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Regarding hill training, it's strength. Basically, hill training is strength work.
Hmm.
You know, so if you have hills available, we always like to help you develop a kind of hill training program, but you have to realize if you're doing already interval training, which is basically the same, and you do
Hmm.
strength work and you do watts, and you do combined everything, uh, then you should be a bit careful with also including
Yeah.
hill training over and over again. But sometimes it's great. Stairs going up and down, it's great. You know, they all serve the same purpose. That is, in your movement of running, building the strength, and mainly and basically it's building the joints and the filaments and the tendons and all that's required for basically for running and running safely.
Yeah,
Yes.
he'll repeat every once in a while with depending on the goals that the students have. I do have one marathon runner right now. He's preparing for a quite hilly marathon, so then I
Hmm.
want to work on the hill repeats. Well, 1 out of 3 interval trainings. And so then we speak about hill repeat training, and that's also a fixed distance and repeat over and over again. And we do some additional stuff. So I agree with Bas. It's there's a lot of strength involved, but that's what he needs for the marathon itself, and also to prepare your joints, especially your calves and your Achilles. That's
Yeah.
they need to handle the impact of the hills and also the flexibility of your ankles going uphill. So yeah, I think it's good depending on the goal you have in mind to do hill repeats. Yeah, not on a
Actually,
weekly basis. Not That's not what we want.
going uphill is miserable for all the reasons that, you know, we all understand. I struggle with downhill too. I think going downhills you know, you gotta feel like you gotta put the brakes on and you're kind of
Yeah.
banging your knees up and uh I you know, people look for these downhill marathons and I'm like, I don't think I want that.
Yeah. But that's also the way you're built.
Yeah.
We have one of our students is a former ski champ, and he loves it. And personally, I love it too. I'm downhill much faster than I'm uphill.
Yeah.
Compared with Marlies, she's flying uphill,
hmm
and then she's a bit more careful, and I think
Yeah.
hesitant downhill. And I just let it go. I feel nothing, which is just luck. I feel nothing. And then
Yeah.
Marlies sometimes says, "Hey, what are you doing? You know, it's dangerous," but it doesn't feel like it, even on trails. Yeah, but
Is this on a
that's
trail or on a road? I think on a trail it's
both.
worse. Yeah. I feel
It's
like I'm gonna
both.
kill myself going downhill on a trail.
Yeah, and then you should be careful. That's the whole thing. And I love going down on trails also quicker, and I'm fine with that. And for you, Marcella, you know, it shows with intervals because your movements are getting bigger and everything. Your ankles are more in the angles are different. You know, everything starts changing if you go faster, and that's why I want to have a quick chat with you.
Mm.
You know, this week or so, because you have to give yourself time to get into uh, uphill running, downhill running, interval training, because everything changes if you go faster and there is more load on all the whole chain in different angles. And that's why I don't want to hurry the whole, because you're doing already fine. You're running uh, on the 200 meters. You were running
Yeah.
below 10 minutes per mile, below 6 minutes per k, which is amazing. I mean, if you consider where you're
I
coming
think
from.
David needs to watch out.
David, your
Yeah,
husband,
yeah.
your husband needs to watch out. Absolutely.
Right.
Brian, please. I think you had.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Baz, if you'd like to comment on the rationale behind doing speed work. Are you trying to accumulate a certain amount of time at a higher heart rate? Are you trying to stimulate neurological function from brain to muscle to switch things on and off? What's the idea behind doing the interval training?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's a great question, and it's so I can answer the question for you how we do it, because in general there are many goals and intentions with interval training. For us, it's of course what you said with the neurological and everything, the brain giving bigger impulses. It resembles a little bit strength training. I mean, you have to teach your body to be able to process bigger impulses, and the result is bigger movements and larger movements and everything, and stay in control. That's my concern with Marcella. If she really starts with interval training, you have to build it carefully. So that's one thing. The other thing, of course, is to accustom yourself with paces which are higher than your marathon pace. That's absolutely one of our goals, that your body is
Why?
because we want your body to increase the range. If you have a bigger, that's the same with your VO2 max. When you're running a marathon, you don't need a big VO2. I mean, that's you just need a specific VO2 to be able to run a marathon. But we want to improve your VO2 max, because then the relative effort is lower if you have a bigger engine. And that's the same with speed. My speed has always been limited, but for some reason, and Marlies knows that, I can sprint. I really can sprint. I'm fast on sprints for some reason, but I'm not quick on marathons. I'm not quick on half marathons. So
Well, you've got more fast twitch muscles.
probably, yes. But I mean, so one of the reasons for us doing the way we do the 9-mile marathon way of interval training is that. So to get yourself used to bigger movements, larger movements, and the strain that is involved with it. And that is for the reason, in the end of your marathon, if you have a downhill, when you're very, very, very tired, your muscles are gone, and then you still need to be able to make the movement. So if you have a bigger span of movement, if you have a bigger engine size, you are safer towards the end of your long distance run and towards the end of your marathon. The third thing is the pacing. So that's why we do it our way. We are not asking you to do 300 meters or 600 meters over and over and over again. Our structure is that we give you for every week a different assignment for a different type of interval training. So the perception you have with pace, the distance you need to cover, and the time you need to be able to do that particular pace is kind of slowly honed in your mind, that you know, hey, I have to do 6 times 600 meters. Well, and then that you feel from the beginning on, this is the kind of pace I can manage. And then you get better and better and better at it. So those are just three of the main goals we have with interval training. And of course, the fourth, which is secondary, is that we want to do it in a way you're not getting injured. And if you do accumulated fatigue kind of interval training, so block trainings and everything we know of our past, the risk of getting tired and then switching your ankle, I mean, making little mistakes, not anticipating when you're doing it on the street that there's a little trottoir and you have to, I mean, all the things that can happen if you're very tired. We don't want to have that. So that's why we do full recovery interval training type of interval training. So with relatively long rests between, and of course you're not recovering fully, but you're definitely going back from, if you're reaching the 160s, 170s, through the dribbling, you go back to in the 130s, even 120s zone before you go to the next repetition.
And on
So are
top
you
of that, the
looking at,
advantage is that you need less time to recover in general from
Yes.
this type of training. So if you do an interval as such, you notice that after good rest, good night's sleep, you already recover quite good to do a good portion of strength training the next day. And then you will be able to run the day after that with 1 day in between on your MHR. And that's also a big advantage to do it this way. But it's still that intense that we only suggest that you do an interval training for a longer distance event once per week, because it's still quite intense and intense enough to give your body that message, that boost, that it will need to recover in such a way that you are better prepared next time. So we called it compensation and super compensation, that your body's even better prepared next time for the next interval session. And that's also beneficial for your longer distance stuff, so you have a full marathon. But so I'm sorry, Brian, you wanted to you had an additional question.
yeah, so are you calculating in your repetitions and total workout sets, are you calculating the amount of time at a higher heart rate?
No, not the amount of time in particular. It's the total effort. Probably I'm not calculating it in like what you would do with Stride or something like that, but it's probably power. So Marlies and I, with our system, are looking for, I mean, increasing the power throughout the same structure. So, and the what you can measure is the time. So basically, if you do a 6 times 600 after a year, you will be able to do it quicker, the 600s. And that means you have higher power, and that means you have better VO2 max, and et cetera, et cetera. That that reflects on everything you can do with workouts, with marathon running and everything. So for me, what I feel, and I know, Brian, you're doing intervals and also on the bike, but if I do in wintertime speed skating is, I mean, full of interval trainings, and it's amazing how quickly you get better in just the first month. It always starts in October for us, and by the end of October, you're ready for doing your first race. And that's because of all the intervals we do. We do maybe 3 times per week interval trainings. And I always feel this VO2 max is the power, really the power output I have on the skates.
Okay.
Yeah, have you already? I don't think so because of the injury you have, right? We haven't done really proper 9-mile style interval trainings, right? Yet.
Yeah, I mean, well, for me, I'm just getting back into running.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say I'm exactly running yet.
yeah, right. Yeah, but we can look for the bike because I saw your the bike rides on the last bike ride also you did on Strava, and also with the bike. I mean, there are so many opportunities to kind of chase the same goal, like upping your power and doing interval trainings on the bike.
Well, that's why I'm asking you these questions, because it's really interesting to me, because I've got let's say 3 test hills on the bike, and so for me it's going uphill rather than doing a speed work flat. Rather than sprinting on the bike, I am just now putting out a higher average power over a 15-minute period going up a hill.
Yeah,
So
but
I'm accumulating a higher heart rate now on the bike than I was before. Okay.
yeah,
So that means to me that and of course that equates as well. I'm getting the power readout. I'm also pushing higher watts. So, that's why I was asking you those questions.
yeah, and that's for me, that's natural. I mean, the power output for me is the big thing of the intervals. But let's talk about that the next call, Brian, because I noticed the 3 hills, and there are many interesting things and structures we can do there. By the way, there's intervals you can do on the flat with high revs, and I mean, we know of interval trainings you can do on a bike. They're not power in a sense
So I
of.
don't have anything flat.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but but I mean, you can even do interval trainings on the bike with high revs, and then
Sure.
because the force is low, but because of the high revs, you still develop lots of power, and you stay on your back chain on the 15 or 16 chain in the back, and you're pushing it and you're accelerating for 20 seconds. And if you do that on your lap 8 times, it feels like you're only spinning, but it's not. When you get home, your legs are gone. But let's talk about that. That's fun type of trainings. They're really different. And also the hills you have, we can make nice like that you accelerate 3 times instead of doing 15 minutes the same effort, but you can also on a hill push it further for 3 minutes or 2 minutes and then relax a little bit and then go the next stage, with the new change set you have now, we can do nice things, and you can even recover going up.
Yeah,
Right?
those hills are good work.
Oh yes, they are. Hey guys, it's already an hour. I have to ask you, George, because you have been so silent.
Yeah. What are you going to ask?
I don't have questions. Do you have questions? I know you do your interval work really with Marlies to the T always.
Yeah, no, having pretty good results on those. Yeah, I really Yeah, it's one of my favorites. I mean, I used to kind of shy away from it, a little bit of fear, but I'm kind of I'm embracing it fully. And
Yeah.
I really like it. The 200, I do. I mean, I do a mix. My favorite is the number one. Intervals. 200, 400, 200, 400, 200. Do that twice, and I like the 200s because, well, I know you say I should have the same pace, throughout, but I probably pick it up a little bit more on the 200 and maybe go half a mile an hour slower on the 400, because it's a eighth of a mile versus quarter, and it's kind of
Yes.
hard to sustain that. I'm basically going sprint speed, during the 200 meters.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but no, and I think it's so. I did have a question. You mentioned the three benefits, and actually you added the fourth, injury prevention. But could you recap the three advantages again? Because I always thought it was just basically to get going faster. So I didn't.
Yes. I will make a note of it. I'll make a little document, a little intentional document, what the intentions are of our system, and then we'll let you know. We'll put it down on paper. Yeah, but the main thing, George, in the end, it is in Marlies and our view is to have a safe way of upping your power. That's basically what it is, and that reflects in the times you can do. You can measure on the structure, and of course you can see it on your VO2 max, because basically the VO2 max, after all, that's the size of your engine. That's your ability to, what Brian is saying, after now maybe a month of doing hill climbs with the bike, you get faster because your VO2 max is upping a little bit, your muscle, your whole structure is responding. So basically you're able to develop more power, more watts, which is force per time. So that's what we're after.
That's great, because power is one of the first things we lose, as we age. So
yes.
So we have more power, more speed. We can hopefully continue to jump up on a box.
That's it. Yes, that's it.
Like that John Hackenschmidt, the guy that invented hack squats. He was doing it into his mid 80s, which was amazing.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. If you can do that, maintain power, then that's I think that's probably up there for measures of longevity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys.
Part of the Centerthon index is the VO2 max test.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, George, what you said, I'm also windsurfing because we have the ocean here, of course. And I'm one of the older guys by now on the club and everything. But then a guy, an old friend of mine, he said, hey, last week there was one of the oldest members who is 80 and he was still windsurfing. But he said, it's more effort to put on my what's that called? The
wetsuit.
The wetsuit. Yes, that's more effort. And then he goes and he windsurfs and he comes back, and we all need to help him put off the wetsuit because he hasn't the power anymore to pull it off and everything. So, but that's right.
When I was doing my Ironman, you come out of the water and they got two people to rip your wetsuit off. They ripped my wetsuit off and my shorts off. They ripped everything off.
Yeah. Right. All right.
Oh my gosh.
So, all right, guys, it was a great meeting. We're right on time. I have already a topic for next week. By the way, if you want to go deep on specific topics for the group calls, let me know or let us know. You can always say in a WhatsApp, hey, I'd like to know what the other guys think about this and this and that regarding what you said, Aaron, a hill training or something, just a topic we're not addressing at all. You can always bring it up, and then we will put it in the group call. Right? For you, Brian, with all the cycling you do right now and all the other things. It's always interesting first for you to know, like the question you just had, but also for the others to learn from you what you are doing when you have a little injury like your calf and everything, or the hip. All right.
Okay.
Okay, guys, please book your calls with us for this week. Marcella, please do.
For
Regarding
next week or 2 weeks?
No, for next week or this
Next
week.
week. Okay.
Yeah, because you have output, and I mean you're making such a progress.
Okay.
So please do. We need to talk.
Okay.
All right. Okay, guys. It was a great
Thank you.
meeting. Bye bye. Have a
Thanks.
great
Bye.
day.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Nice seeing you guys. Bye.